Hello, my name is Gunnar Newton, and for the next couple of minutes, I would like to talk to you about Japan's aging population. The first thing that we will discuss is the statistics. Then we will talk about the people, or the root of the issue, and then finally, we will see what the Japanese government has done to end this problem. Looking at the facts can really paint the picture of what's happening. The first piece of information I would like to point out is that the median age in Japan is 48 years old. To give a comparison, the United States median age is 10 years less at 38. Japan has a population size of 125 million, and here we can see how the population of Japan is divided by age groups. The majority of its population is between 15 and 64 years old, but the alarming statistic here is that almost a third of their population is about 65 or older. If this trend persists, their population will have more than 40% of their population over the age of 65. The other issue at hand is that there are fewer and fewer kids that are 14 years or younger. According to the European Parliament think tank, the two main elements that are behind this crisis are the low fertility rates and high life expectancy. Fertility rate is measured by the amount of births per woman in a select region, and in 1989, Japanese fertility rate dropped to a measly 1.57. This means that there was only 1.5 births per woman for that year. This crisis was known as the 1.57 shock, and it brought the attention of many government officials. Their attempts to curb this decline, however, were futile, and in 2005, Japan hit a measly 1.26, which was their lowest fertility rate ever. 15 years later, Japan has not seen much improvement and was at a 1.3 in fertility rating. The two main reasons I believe that is affecting the fertility rate in Japan is the lack of intimate relationships and the gender inequalities of the workplace. Research conducted in 2015 suggests that more than half of Japanese men and one-third of Japanese women between the ages 25 to 29 were not in an intimate relationship with the opposite sex. This lack of intimacy between men and women in this society is potentially caused by the change from arranged marriages to love marriages and the lack of opportunity for an employment. When we look at the data presented in the bottom right corner, there is a direct correlation between a decline in formal marriages and individuals not in a relationship. This is partly due because Japanese men have been struggling to find successful employment since the world financial crisis in 2008. Due to this crisis, the job market in Japan took a severe blow and many college graduates were not able to find a job. These individuals are now in their late 30s and early 40s and are still not financially independent. This has caused a phenomenon called the 70-40 problem, meaning that the 70-year-old parents are still financially supporting their 40-year-old children. This makes it tough for Japanese men to date women because the women in Japan, on average, look for financially dependent men to create a family with. Japan is a conservative country and holds beliefs that establish gender inequalities. One belief that sticks out is that Japanese men work hard and make sacrifices for his family, and the women raise the children and are responsible for the household. To some extent, these beliefs are still true. The workplace is one of the main proponents of these inequalities. Matahara means maternity harassment. Maternity harassment is when pregnant women are being harassed by their employers. This goes on even though there are laws in place to stop this from happening. The Labor Standard Act requires employers to give pregnant women a lighter workload if they ask for it. However, the employers have been known to disregard their request for reduction in hours and in some cases fire the pregnant woman or force her to quit. In fact, about 60% of women decide to quit after giving birth. On the other side of the spectrum, it is frowned upon for Japanese men to take paternity leave. This is once again due to the gender inequalities in the workplace. Japanese employers are hesitant to recognize a father's right to take paternity leave, even though they have been able to take up to a year of paid leave to care for their child since the 1990s. In 2020, a government survey found that less than 13% of Japanese men took paternity leave. This means that women are being treated unfairly when they are pregnant, and the men are being forced to choose work over their family because of gender traditions and norms. These inequalities make it difficult for either sex to not just have kids, but to want to have children. In 2019, the average life expectancy for a Japanese man was about 81 years old, and for women, it was about 87. To compare these numbers, the average American man life expectancy is 77 years old, and for women it is 81. As you can see, the United States does not compare with Japan, and that is because of an array of things. For starters, Japan has a universal health insurance. Their elderly is more active, and they have traditionally healthy dietary habits. In addition, there is a low level of income inequality, and they have a high level of social cohesion. This means that Japanese people are more unified than other countries. The last portion of this video we will discuss what the Japanese government is trying to do to try to stop this downward trend. We will also talk a bit about the immigration policy that Japan has in effect. The biggest issue the Japanese government faces is not the installment of laws, but the enforcement of laws. As we have already seen, Japanese companies do not enforce labor laws that are meant to protect pregnant women, and Japanese men do not utilize the laws that protect their rights to paternity leave. With that being said, the government has established the Angel Plan. This plan was established in 1994 and was meant to assist couples in raising children by offering counseling and encouragement of participation from fathers. Now the Angel Plan offers convenient daycares and payments of about $280 per child monthly. In addition, the government has instituted the Child Care and Family Care Act, and some of the benefits here are greater flexibility to the already existing parental paternity leave, and employees can take leave to take care of their sick or injured child. This way, they can ensure a better work-life balance for parents. The one thing that could potentially help their aging population is something that the government would not consider. Japan and its government is almost entirely Japanese and only accept a small percentage of immigrants. In 2019, less than 2,000 immigrant advanced workers were accepted to live in Japan indefinitely. To give a comparison, the United States had over 1 million people who obtained permanent residence the year prior. Thank you for listening and watching this PowerPoint presentation. In summary, Japan's aging society is a result from a lack of intimacy due to the decline in arranged marriages and the lack of employment opportunities. Another contributor is the gender inequalities in the workplace that make it difficult to want, have, or take care of children. These two aspects make it difficult for the people of Japan to have babies. On the other side, the older generation is living a lot longer, and this is because of multiple reasons, but mainly due to their impressive universal health insurance. The last piece of the puzzle is what the government is doing and what they are not doing. And as we discussed, the two main things they are not doing is enforcing their laws and allowing immigrants to move into the country. Once again, thank you for listening to my presentation, and I will talk to you all soon.